What's going on, everyone? Dudette with Dudette Gaming here. Today we're taking another look at Predecessor. More specifically, we're looking at what makes Predecessor different from other MOBAs, what makes it individual as a game, some of the drawbacks to it, but also why I think it's a game worth your time, even in early access. Now, what makes it different from other MOBAs? You see, most MOBAs are based upon a 2D linear style game. In other words, you have a left and right axis, forward and reverse movement, and the game is based in that way. Predecessor builds upon the foundation of Paragon, which introduced the 3D verticality aspect to the game. This brings a whole new world of the ability to play and be tactical, because it introduces the up and down axis as well as the left and right. Now, you're able to build heroes and build a game that can take advantage of the sky and can take advantage of lower parts of the map. This makes the game a lot more dynamic and a lot more fun, in my opinion. For example, there's a character in the game called Gideon. Gideon has the ability to teleport. He also has an ultimate ability that opens a black hole. That black hole pulls enemies in and does damage in a large AoE. This is a big, helpful ultimate in team fights. One of the things that you can do in Predecessor is take that teleport, aim up above a team fight, teleport into the team fight, then use your ultimate ability so that you are out of the line of fire of the people who are fighting on the ground beneath you. There are plenty of heroes in Predecessor that have the ability to use vertical advantage. You can also use this to jump over walls and to get in and out of fights more and quicker. This is one of the funnest parts. This also introduces an FPS style to the game, because now you need a little more skill when aiming at your enemies, because you aren't just looking left and right, you're now looking up and down as well. What makes Predecessor individual as a game, in my opinion, is its tactical games. There is no point in the game where there is absolutely nothing to do. There is no point in the game that is much like the rest of it. The early game, you have to build up and prepare for the mid and late game, because you don't have all of your abilities yet, and you don't have a full card system built yet. Mid-game, you are halfway through your process. You're now able to engage more in fights, and you're now able to be more effective as a team. And late game, when you are closer to full build, you can really experience the exciting gameplay that comes alongside of Predecessor. Getting in and out of team fights, engaging with Orb Prime or Fangtooth when the enemy's on it. There are plenty of things you can do in Predecessor that make it an extremely fun game and different from other MOBAs. However, one of the things that one of the guys I often play with, Amish Mayhem, has introduced or told me and explained to me is that one of the drawbacks to modern gaming is that it's focused often in the battle royale style of high octane, high adrenaline gameplay, where it is quick games, heavy hitting games, and there's no moment to think at all. Those games, in my opinion, have a great disadvantage to them because there's very little team tactics. Very little. It's literally point and shoot at the enemy, and it takes away from a lot of the fun of video games. Predecessor reintroduces the tactical gameplay, but doesn't lose the high octane fun. Now, it does slow things down a bit, and some people see that as a disadvantage. However, I see it as quite the advantage because it takes a much more tactical player and team to win. It is a great advantage to the game. Now, there are some drawbacks for sure. I think the number one drawback to Predecessor and to MOBAs in general, but specifically Predecessor, is that there's a very steep learning curve. There is a lot to learn, from the timing on when to activate your abilities and in what progress, the knowledge of and timing of when to go for different objectives, The tactician, like I said, your tactical ability is key in a game. There is a very steep learning curve because the game is full. But once you can learn the game, understand the dynamics and the mechanics of the game, understand the timings of when you want to do different things within the game, and learn good communication skills with your team, you will enjoy it so much more. And engaging in team fights and in individual fights is way more fun when you have a solid sense of what's going on. Another drawback that comes along with MOBAs in general is the high pressure to perform your role. See, there's only 5 roles in the game, but every single role has an equal importance in the game. And if you don't know how to specifically carry out your role and well, you'll fall behind. And when you start to fall behind, it's hard to catch up again. It's also hard when even one person on your team is lacking because the other team has a big advantage in that case. It's not like an FPS where you can simply point and shoot and it doesn't really matter how good you are as long as you can aim. So there is a lot of pressure to perform. Unfortunately, alongside of the heavy pressure comes a toxic community. Luckily, Predecessor isn't toxic, and I really hope and I'm really pushing for it to not become toxic. But because there is such high pressure in MOBAs to perform, it does increase toxicity. Because somebody who thinks that they're doing very well notices that you're not, it's really easy for them to blame you for not holding up the team or for you letting the team down. I don't promote toxicity, though I do fall prey to it all the time. All I can say is, as a community, what we should do is promote helpful, constructive feedback. If you have a teammate who's being toxic towards you, ignore them. Ignore what they're saying, mute them, do whatever you need to. Play the game for yourself and enjoy the game. If you're feeling toxic towards an enemy, or, well, I shouldn't say an enemy, a teammate, don't make them an enemy. Seriously, if you're feeling toxic, the last thing you need to do is cuss them out for something. It's a game. And it's a game we want to enjoy for a long time. A lot of us had to watch Paragon die. We don't want to watch Predecessor die. Seriously, you guys, Predecessor is very much so worth your time. It is a blast. And Omega Studios, the developer, has done a lot of investing and has done a lot of really hard work and hired a lot of really key people that even worked on Paragon. They show an incredible amount of promise, and they have promised us quite the seasons ahead. And I'm looking forward to it, and I honestly think that it is a game worth your time. That's going to do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I really do hope I see you guys in the battlefield. Peace.